Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Ian and Ian. We're so happy, we're so delighted that we're coming to you to the night on another Sunday afternoon with one of the most successful runner, 400-meter runner, um, you know, out of Spanish Town, San Diego, University of Texas El Paso, and many time representative for Jamaica, Mr. Bert and Cameron. So before you hear from Bert, I'm just going to hand you over to Mr. Ian Thomas, the health and wellness specialist.
Yes, guys, we just want to say, it's a pleasure to be here another Sunday afternoon. And before we even get into the program, we just want to apologize for the little late start. But I know most of you guys probably would have been, caught off guard with the saving time, daylight saving time. Simple mean in America, we're now 9, plus in Jamaica, we're still not at 9 yet. Simple mean at 2 o'clock this morning in America, we have to turn our clock an hour ahead of time. So we're basically on two different time scale here, Bert in Jamaica, and it's still not 9 o'clock yet. So I know some of us may have been caught off guard, but nevertheless, we are here and we are here again for another exciting program. And as we know, we always deliver, educate, motivate, and inspire. And for that, we just want to say that, we are happy to have in the house Sir Bertland Cameron, and we just want to welcome you to the platform and thanks for all that you have done for Jamaica and the greater world. Welcome to Ian and Ian Real Talk.
Welcome. Thanks. So it's lovely to be a part of the show.
All right. So Bert, again, we officially welcome you, and we're just going to get right in the program. We just want to welcome all the fans in Jamaica right now. Wherever in the world you may be, all the track and field fans and all the historians, just stay tuned because we want to have a great program. And just feel free if you have something that you would like to ask, we'll try to get to it. But just feel free to interact with me, Ian, and Bert. And as you know that Bert is a three-time Olympian, and it's not going to get any better than that. Running for Jamaica in a time in the 1980. We could go from 1980, 84, and 88. And Bert, I know it's a long time, so we're gonna. I know Bert gonna try to do his best to tell you everything that he could remember. But we're going to go, right now we're going to turn time back. We're going to go back to the 70s. Bert, I was born in 1974. So tell us, what were you doing in 1974, if you can remember?
Yeah, I can remember a little bit. In 1974, back in those days, I can remember back from 72 to 76. I remember like in 1972, I was a young boy growing up in Spanish Town, took the common entrance exam, didn't pass. So I went to Spanish Town Secondary School. And if you're from Spanish Town, the only school in Jamaica, in St. Catherine was St. Diego High School. So if you don't pass your exam and you don't get to go to San Diego as a kid, you feel like you fail. And some people take it hard and some people just move on. I took up a challenge. I want to go to San Diego High School, and I want to make myself, my family, and everybody proud. At that time, we in Spanish Town, we used to also run barefoot all over the place, going to look for mangoes, get into people's cane field, going to the river, and doing all the kid stuff. Knowing that we don't have no concern. Back in those days, we weren't worried about gunmen and all those things. We were used to worry about duppy. So we keep running all over the place. I mean, where I came from, your neighbor could beat you. You could go and sleep inside their house because I live into a tenement yard. So different houses, you go and your mother, and your father, but everybody else inside the place is your mother and your father. If another parent decides to beat you, you can't go and talk to your mother and say you got whooping because you're gonna get another one. So growing up poor, but very respectful. I have three brothers, and we looked after each other. Recently, my brother that followed me died about 2 months ago. He was sick, so if for him to go home to God was a blessing for me because I didn't want to see him suffer anymore. He was like a rock to me. He was always out helping me doing things, but he's home now. But as you know, Ian, I live a life of fun. I'm always happy-go-lucky because I am so grateful to God for what I have turned out to be, because where I came from is not too many of us turn out to be anything, but it's either you be a police or a gunman, and with God's willing, I get out of that. No, not that I was involved in anything, but I get out of that community. You understand? So I went to secondary school, Spanish Town Secondary School, and I just kept on running because I felt like this is something going to take me personally and my family out of poverty. And with my determination, I was not going to allow anything to stop me. So whenever sports day at Spanish Town Secondary comes up, I try to do my best. I run the 100 all the way up to the 1500. I do long jump, I do high jump. Those times when we do high jump, we run up to the bar and we just chuck over the thing. We land in the sand. But I have to impress somebody until in 1977, see, I skipped from 1977. No, in 1976, when I listened to the Olympic Games on my radio in my mother's bedroom, and I listened when Donald Quarry won the 200 meter and finished second in the 100 meter. I got up out of my mother's room and said, one day I want to be like Donald Quarry. And I mean, it was so real. I said, I want to be like him. And I end up getting a scholarship from Spanish Town Secondary to St. Diego High School. I only ran in class 1, 77, 78, and 79. So I have never won champs. I started out, my first 400 meter I ran in 1977 was 54 seconds. And I moved from 54 seconds to 47.2 that same year. I ran my heat in 1977 in Dennis Henry. I don't know if you guys know Jaman. I think he died a couple of years back. And in my heat, I got lane 1 and I finished last. Far last. Everybody in the stadium stand up and clap. When you're far last, they stop and clap you. And yes, they clap you in. Yeah, And I ran off of that field and I went to my coach, Jimmy Grant, and I said, you know what? I am starting to train tomorrow. You want me to stop, tell me, And
no, man, I'm just impressed. I mean, Jimmy Grant, you're calling some names right now that I didn't even know that. I only know Jimmy. All right, go ahead.
He was my high school coach. And he was the best man at my first marriage, So
wow,
so he was like a father to me, father and friend and everything. The day when he went to Iowa to coach.
Yes.
He was staying at my house for a week, and then he drove from Texas to Iowa when he got his first job. So that's where we're coming from. So in 1977, when I went to boys championship for St. Diego High School, I just believed that I was good. But when I got to the stadium, the first time I'm seeing the national stadium, and I was in lane 1, I finished dead last, like what I tell, and they clapped me in. But my thing was not just there, because I know I am on a mission, and my mission is, I was one of them bright boys in high school or anything. I know what I want. I was looking for an easy way out for me. And I was always thinking about my mother because I have to take care of my mother. And at 70, you start to have goals and dream about what you want to do in life. And my thing was to run. So in 1977, when I realized that, wow, it's not going to be that easy because I can't even make it out of the first round in a 400 meter at Boys Championship. What am I going to do? Look at Jimmy and say, Jimmy, I'm going home and I'm going to start training. I start training the next day because I was out on Friday and Saturday I start to train. I trained myself because for a little while because season was over for me. So in Spanish Town, I go before GC Foster was there. We used to run up all those hills. Now, when I said we, it's like my brother and I. And I used to get like sawdust and make a little ring and jump. I was doing every little thing for myself. I used to make a circle in the yard and I'm running around the circle. I run around the circle until I can't run no more and I get, I can't balance. When I finish, when I fall. While everybody is doing other things, I was just keep on running because I want to make it. And yeah, believe you me, in 1978, I moved from nobody to finish second at champs in the 400 meter. It wasn't a fast time. But then, people there, cheering for me and all those things. And that same year, 1978, when I finished second at champs, I made it to the Central American and Caribbean Games. And I moved on to the Commonwealth Games. And at the Commonwealth Games, I ran the fastest time on the third leg. I never forget it. I run 45.2. That's after running 47.2 in high school, And that time, the older guys on the team, I never forget, they never want me to run because they say that I'm too young. And I turned around and looked at all of them and said, you see, all of you guys, all of you, next year, none of you guys will ever beat me because I was that arrogant. I was like that. I just want them to know. I just want them to know my suffering in life and that they're not going to stop me from achieve nothing that I want to see. I tell them I remember all of you guys. I remember Seymour Newman, Colin Barreef, and Colin Bradford. Those guys didn't want to run with me at that time. Seymour is my good friend now. But they didn't want to run with me because I'm a young boy. So we are young ones, always young. But I said to myself, you see, I don't want to be like them. I never want to be like them. I want to help. I want to help the younger athletes coming up. So it becomes a problem. While I'm getting like a senior athlete now on the Jamaican team, I used to take the kids and let them know. I let them know the X's and the O's and who they're to trust and who. And the administration didn't like that. Because I am not separating myself from them. I want them to understand what is there, so they have to do it for themselves. So in 1979, there was this big rivalry with myself and Ian Stapleton, because I just came back from the Commonwealth Games, running 45.2 on a relay leg. So now I become the favorite, the big favorite to win Boys Championship. And guess what now? My opponent is from KC, Kingston College. And they are the one who control the sport. So when I went out there to run with Ian Stapleton as the big favorite, when the race, I was in lane 5 and he was in lane 4. So right there, I believe that they're setting up the race because Kingston College people control Boys Championship. Right there, St. Diego High School, our spectators was right around the bend. As soon as you come out the first 100 meter, There's St. Diego High School 10. So now I have to impress my school. So when the race started, Ian Stapleton was faster than me. So I decided, no, I have to look good. So when I reached the first bend on the Jago, I can hear the Jago noise and everybody making all that noise. So I decided, so you know what? I have to put on an extra speed so that I look good going the backstretch. But I burnt out. When I reached about 280 meters, I was dead. And Stapleton just run past me. But I was so strong, I still kept on going with him. He ran 46.2 and I ran 46.5. But from 1979, that was the last race I ever lost to a Jamaican for about 10 years. I kept that is where I met up with my era, like Devon Morris, Mark Senior, we call him Birdman, all of these guys. Winthrop Graham. I was before Winthrop, but they came on later. Just like what I said to you, as soon as a younger person come on to the team, I let them understand. I talk to them and let them know, and we be one. So in 1919, from 1980, and nobody knows. A lot of people do not know that I was the favorite to win the Olympic in 1980, because that's the year when American boycott, and I just won my first NCAA. I was, my freshman year, I won NCAA, so I was, and I beat all the Americans. So going into the 1980 Olympics, I was the favorite. But 3 weeks before the Olympics, I pulled my hamstring, and I could help it. I mean, that put me into a race that I should have never run, because I was sore. And I told them, the organizers from Jamaica, talking about Herb McKinley and those guys. Herb McKinley is my idol. Somebody that I always want to be like. I eat, sleep, and drink and think about Herb. When I go to Jamaica, I just stay at his house and I walk around. Even today, up until today, I still want to be like Herb. But yes, but in 1980, the way I worship Herb, if I decided I wasn't going to listen to him, I wouldn't have been hurt. I would go on to the 1980 Olympics and I would have gotten a medal. If it's even not a goal, I would have definitely get a medal in the top 3. But that didn't happen. But I get up again and I decide that that's not going to discourage me. I am going to keep on running. And then in 1981, I went back to school and I won the NCAA for the second time. So that is 2 times in a row. And I went on and ranked number 1 in the world. I was the number 1 quarter mile in the world, never lost a race to anybody. And then in 1982, I went on and win the Commonwealth Games. Then then never lost a race again. I've never lost a race in 3 years to no 400 meter runner, none. I was the best in the world. And in 1983, I went on and win the World Championship, becomes the favorite for 1984 Olympic. And you know what happened. That is when everything started to go downhill. And that was, a lot of people don't remember that I'm a world champion. They remember the race that I run in 1984, because I remember the announcer said something that poor little boy from Spanish Town who had run well don't have to run another race for his life, in the rest of his life. Because the race was it's like I was in a zone. I came out in the semifinals knowing that I was one of the favorite to win. And when I came out in the semifinals, I just remember running on the backstretch. Came off the first turn on the backstretch. I felt a pull. And I said to myself, Jesus, what is this? And I put my leg down again and tried to run, and I hopped. One more time. And I said, damn, what's going to happen now? And I tried again, and I go, boom. And I hopped again. And I remember this guy in lane 1. I was in lane 2, Elvis Ford. Elvis Ford from, I think it was Bermuda or Barbados. He was in lane 1 and he ran past me. And when I looked up, I seemed like I'm watching the race. Everybody was out there. And I remember that I was the favorite. And I said to myself, I can't stop now because I don't know what 4 years is going to bring. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I will make it for 4 years' time. So I put my leg down again and I said, let me try this. And when I see them going away with my determination, I said, you know what? I have to run. And I start to run. And every stride that I make, I feel stronger and stronger with a lot of pain. But I felt like the whole field just coming right back to me. And I just getting more power when I see the field coming back. And you know, when you're winning a race, the kind of zone that you're in. And I saw him catching it. When I reached on the third, about 150 to go. And I look up, I saw only 2 persons in front of me. And that time they take the first 4. It's not the first 3 and then the fastest loser, our first 2 anymore. It's the first 4. Because the thing about it, it's 4 rounds, it's not 3. You have to go to first round and quarterfinal, then semifinal, and then finals. So I saw when I reached, I was at third, and Antonio McKay, my rival, was right next to me. And I look across, and I saw that I was going to qualify. Remember now, I stopped about 5 times, and I still end up running 45.10 with all the stop that I made. That year, if you calculate that probably would have been a 43 or a 44-1 or something. I don't know. But I made it to the finals. But after I made it to the finals, I realized that I would make it back out for the next day. But at the same time, because the kind of athlete that I was, I told Mr. McKinley, don't scratch me because I'm going to run. So they did not scratch me from the event. I went out the next day for the finals. But when I'm trying to warm up and I feel my leg just pull it, and then I scratch. I mean, that kept me out of athletics for about 2 years. After that 2 years, I came back. One of my greatest moments is in 1988 when it was myself. This is when everybody in the association in Jamaica, plus the coaches and everybody, they wrote me off. Even when I went to the trials, they did not expect me to win. That time was in 1988. You have 84 was myself and Mark Cena, my blessed friend. But in 88, it was Birdman. I don't know, you have Devon Morris, and you have Jesus, I'm getting so old.
You got Winthrop,
Birdman, Devon Morris, and there was Howard Burnett. It was 5 of us. Even when I went to the trials, nobody expected me to do anything because I only ran 1 race that year because I was having some muscle problem. And in the finals at the trials, I was in lane 1. Lane 1 because I was struggling. So Saturday morning, I drove from Spanish and I went to the National Stadium and I walked around the stadium. I walked in lane 1 all the way around in my lane and decide how I was going to run to try to make it in the top 3 so I could run. And the finals, I think Howard Burnett had run 44.8 or something. So he was a favorite. This is the first time in Jamaica that I'm going to run a race and I'm not the favorite. So you must understand how I'm feeling now. Nobody gave me a chance. And I was in lane 1. And I can tell you, when the race started, the final started, I ran the hardest 200 meter in my life. So when I reached at 250, I was already in front. So that just killed all the rest of the 7 guys because you see Bert Cameron in front from lane 1. And when I finished the race, it was 45.7. It was one of the slowest finals I'd ever run. But I think my opponent, they froze because they didn't expect anything like that from me. and I won the trials. It was a slow trials. Even then, nobody even think that it's going to be a good year for me. We went to a camp in California, and I'm having these different kind of feelings because I'm not the star anymore. I am not the the person that the eyes are on. And it was different because for all those years while I was running, I was even bigger than Merlin Hattie. I was bigger than everybody because I was the one who was carrying the flag, especially on the men's side. So in '88, Winthrop, Devon, Burnett, and all those guys, we all came together and we said to ourselves, they said to me that this is going to be my game. They all put in, I mean, we coach ourselves, we do everything. We don't miss meals. We go to meal, we do everything together. When we're going to train, all 5 of us go to the track together. We go to the dining room together. We do everything together because nobody give us any chance to do anything. That year, I went to the Olympic finals. I run 44.50 from lane 8, going to the finals. That is in 1988. I ended up finishing 6th in the finals. And Devon Morris made it to the semifinals. Birdman, that is award, made it to the semifinals. So all 3 of us run our personal best. So then they give us a chance. Now, now we start to make the coaches look good now because the 4x4 team that we're taking there all of a sudden becomes one of the attraction. Because they realize now that only one team can beat us now, and it was the US. You know, so no disrespect, the coaches want us to run a certain way, and we decide, Winthrop and all the guys then came together and said, no, we want Bert to anchor the relay. At first, at the semifinals, we were in a tough semifinal, so I decided that I am going to run the 3rd leg, and God was so good to us, and we put Winthrop in the anchor leg. So God was so good to us to make that decision, because if I didn't run the 3rd leg, we weren't going to make it to the finals, because our finals was stuck, and it don't matter about time now, you know, it's the top 4, because 2 people from our heat that run faster than the next 2 in the other semifinals didn't make it, because the other semifinals was with the US and they run slow. So we went to the finals, and now everybody giving us a chance now. So we stuck together, and there I got my silver medal in the Olympics in 1988. So that was very rewarding to me, because that's the only medal I would want to have an individual medal, but that didn't happen. I ended up getting a silver from all those guys who I still cherish up until today. I mean, Winthrop is my friend, Devon is my friend, Birdman is my friend, but I'm always older than them, you know. But I'm always like the cloud. So that is, and you know, that year I ranked 7th in the world, coming back from 1984. It took me 4 years to achieve, you know, to feel as if I was there. And I did try it out for 1992 Olympics. I did, but I ran the semifinals and I got hurt and I couldn't go to the final. I took the mic and I went around the track and I retired there. But I was coaching at Northern Arizona University. That same, I was coaching and being an athlete. But you know, and then I retired in 1992. And
Okay.
that is my life story, track.
All right. Well,
one more thing.
just okay.
One more thing. I won the NCAA 3 years in a row and finished 2nd once. You know, it's not, especially in the 400 meter, it's not too many people have done something like that.
All right, Bert, we just your introduction, your story was so perfect. You know, we're really happy that you take the time, because you know that you know it better than us. So now that you give us a big overview of everything, we're going to dissect some of it a little bit more. You know, we ask you a little more details into just your you know, just your experience coming up. So for
Yes.
me, I just want to start out in you know, I wanted to ask you, what were you driving force? I know you said your mom was really somebody that you want to make proud and you want to get to college and all that stuff, but at the tender age going to Spanish Town, secondary school. I mean, other than your mom, what were you driving force? What did you really think? I mean, what drive you? Because you seem like you was well driven. You didn't need anybody to sit down and tell you that this is what's going to happen. You just wake up one day. And I know that why track? I mean, I know track, you got football, you got cricket, why track, and what was the driving force?
My driving force is this. I remember growing up, I have friends, a lot of friends because we're in sport. I would always go into my friend's house, but none of my friends would come to my house because I was ashamed.
Mm.
Back in those days, when you're a certain age, I don't want them to see where I live. But I was a polite young man. My friends and my schoolmate parents would allow me to come to their house because I have manners and I'm this and that. So when I see how the rest of all my friends live, and then I have to go back to where I live, I realize that I don't want this life. I have to get something better. And for me, football wasn't it, because that is a team sport. You understand? And back then, football is not getting scholarship to go nowhere. So even although they were my friends playing football, I want to do something for myself that's gonna take me to where I want to go. And there comes track. And I always know that I always say poor is not a sin. Being poor is not a sin. But it's hard life. And I don't want to live that life for the rest of my life. So I personally going to find something to take my mother and my brothers and my father out of poverty. Maybe I was naive. I am not sure about what I'm thinking or whatever because I thought it was that easy. So that was my major driving force. That I don't like the situation that I'm in, and I have to go find a way out.
All right. I get one more question before I bring Ian in. So you talk about being a junior athlete, going to the CSC and going to the Commonwealth. You drop around 2 seconds off your time. What you think was the difference for you to run that fast? With the senior, were you scared, or it was just something that you were just got a lot in you that people didn't never see, or you didn't get a chance to show?
I believe that is my thinking. What always going through my head. I don't have the luxury like other children growing up. And when you focus on something, you always want to learn. While I never party, I never drink, I never smoke. I didn't have no lot of girls back then because my wife just said me lie, but she don't know me then. But it's true, I never have those things. I want, and I tell you, I promise you, I just want to live like how I see my other friends them living. So that just let me run. I feel free. I feel so free when you say on your mark. I always have a little brown bag, Adidas bag under my shoulder that anywhere there's a track, I am going to run no matter what. And I only want to run 400 meters. Ask me why. because I see a little way out. And so the time to me meant nothing. It's just that when I run, I realize that I'm running faster. But I never concentrate on that, I just want to beat you. I just want to beat you. And I feel like if I beat you, my time is going to be fast. I'll tell you a little story. In 1979, after WAC Championship, I got to run with the great Alberto Wantorino at the National Stadium. Still a schoolboy. And if you remember, Alberto Wantorino is the greatest 400, 800 meter that ever lived. And I led Wantorino all the way to 360 meters. Then I realized who I was running with. And when I realized who I was running with, then he ran past me and beat me. And that there, Jamaica realized the potential that I have after that meet in Jamaica. So it wasn't about the time. It wasn't just racing against them. And anytime you run a good race, the time comes. You understand? So those are the things. I'd never run off for the clock. Never. If it takes me 49 seconds to beat you, I'm going to run 48.99 and you run 49. I never think about running any clock. I want to beat you.
Oh, it's so impressive. I just have so much building up that I want to talk about. I'm gonna sneak one more question in. But in terms of your training, I know you talk about racing a lot, but we all know that if you don't train, when you go to the race day, because track is not something that you could just go play a game. You literally got to put the work in. At training, how did you train doing that? Do you train hard every day? Do you run? Are you never get tired? I mean, what was the whole philosophy behind your training?
I train hard every single day.
Okay.
I don't get massage. I don't take vitamin. I don't do nothing more than just run around the track every single day. I tell you one thing, I don't go to the weight room. Back in my days, I just run. I just run and run hard. If you give me 500 to run, I'm going to run them. If you give me 200 to run, I'm going to run it. I just train hard.
All right. Over to you, Ian.
Okay, Sir Bertland. Quick question for you. I know you said growing up in Spanish Town, I really wanted to take us back to your real best childhood memory. But for me, I really want to know, how were you able to stay out of trouble growing up in the community?
They used to call me coward, eh? In my community, they call me coward because if something is happening in my community, I'm going to run. I am not staying here to watch anything that happens. And I never move around the older people. I was always have a little gang that I call a little gang, that I was always the leader. I was always the leader. The only trouble that my little gang do, that we go into the cane field or if you have a mango tree, you're going to be sorry, because there's no way somehow we are going to come over that fence and we're going to take off all your mangoes off your tree. And we're going to cut your cane, go in the cane field, and we're going to steal your cane and all them things. But it's a separation. Up until today in my life, one of my most fearful things in life is to go into a jail cell. I never want to go in something like that. And I've never come close one day all my life. The closest I come to going to jail is a speeding ticket, a policeman. And those are the fear that I have. I always tell my wife, I'd rather die than to go to jail or to prison. I don't want to do that. So those things stuck inside of my head. And trouble will bring that, because when you're coming from a poor family or a poor neighborhood, police always come and terrorize your neighborhood, and they make you think that if the least good thing you do, you're going to go to jail. So I don't want to go there, so you don't have to tell me to behave myself, because I do not want you hold me and take me to Spanish Town courthouse or anything like that. So that was never my problem.
All right. Thank you. All right. So really, I want to dissect now, going back, as Ian would say, but I'm gonna take it to 1977. Reason being, that was my year of birth, so way back then. And I remember, if I remember correctly, you said at champs you came dead last. They clap you on dead
77.
last. 77. Yeah, so they clap you on dead last. Again, I'm just gonna dissect part of your career. So, then you came back the next year, you were second. But I'm gonna go back to 1984. No, so it'll be like 85, 86 again. They're counting you out again.
Yes.
Injury. And 88, you're back to the Olympics, running your best again. How were you able to overcome these? Because I know when somebody kind of count you out, hey, probably tell you you can't do it, leave it alone, and a few sports or whatever, probably again, it come latter years, early years and latter years. How did you deal with these things?
One of the greatest things for that, back in those days when we used to run, I never lived in Jamaica. I live into a foreign country. I live in the United States, in El Paso. So I don't get to live. You hear the things that they're talking about you. You don't get to live it unless you want to hear it. I'm around my friends in El Paso, so I'm there training every day and running and doing my thing. So, and I always believe that I can come back, So, without hearing the good no more, this, only time I'm going to hear that is when I come home for trials. And then you're begging to come home because you really don't get any support. No matter how great you think you were, or how this and that and that. You're only good as your last race you run. If you run your last race and you don't do well, that's it for you. So nobody remembers you until you come back. And when you come back, they decide, oh, I know that he could do it. And when you come back, you believe that you will get some support, but you don't. The people in the stands, they're betting against you, man. They say you can't make it, you wash up, you need to go. And if you can't handle that, don't go. But my thing was, I need to have an Olympic medal. That's the only medal that I have not received. And I need one. So that's what driven me back from 87. Because in 1987, I should tell you, that I went to Pan Am Games and I got a silver medal behind this guy named Raymond Pierre. This is a boy that used to work out with Michael Johnson. So I started combat then because I ran 44. I think it was 44.9 in that race. So I knew then that 1988 I was going to be okay. But then I got hurt in 88. Nobody knows that because you're not a star. So those are the little things that I was still running a little bit, but it's for nothing to talk about. But I was still under the radar a little bit until 98. Even 1988, and I was still under the radar. Is at the Olympic Games, I found fitness. And the fitness was the true birth, because I run 44.50. That was the Jamaican record that stand for a long time. Till Roxburgh Martin came and broke it. He ran 44.49. And that's a couple of years back. So, even though I was under the radar, I was still competing a little bit. But as Ian knows, when you go to Europe, and if you're not producing, no matter what your name, no matter who you are, you find out that you have to beg to get into a race not coming to you. And that was a stage that I was going through. And that stage is not a good way. It's not good. It's terrible. You don't know if you're going to get into a race or you're not. And that's what was happening to me. And I've started to feel bad then. But I kept on going because I need to get into those races so I can prepare myself for 88. And I end up that 1988 Olympics was my best Olympics because I went through it without injury.
All right. All right, quick question for you again, and I'm gonna take you back to the latter years there and the future years. But all right, in high school, who would you say was your most fierce competition? And in your latter years, that mean when you run senior and the senior circuit, was there anyone that you fear when you're and them in the same race?
Let me talk about senior year. Let me talk about the senior year. There was this guy named Walter McCoy from the US that he was my fiercest competitor. Walter represents United States in every Olympics and all. A lot of people don't know about him. But when you run with Walter McCoy, you realize that if you're not going to run, don't go. You know, remember now. I've seen the fierce competitor came after I start to go down. Because in my years when I was good, I didn't fear anybody. I was just going there like who is going to finish second? Who's coming? Seriously. There was no one person that I fear until after I start to go. I have to go back. I've stayed there for a while, but then you have people like Innocent Ebonike, then come Butch Reynolds, and those are the guys that when those guys came. At that time, I'm starting to go back. Butch came in 1988 when I finished sixth, and you have Danny Everett, and you have Tingley who won the Olympics at 19 years old, and you have
Steve Lewis. Quincy Waters, Steve Lewis, one of them.
Steve Lewis.
Yeah.
They were running for Santa Monica Track Club. This is when 43 looks like nothing, and all those years. But those are the years when I was going down. So I wasn't a true competitor to these guys. But back in my years when I was running, there I fear nobody. I really have no fear. I was just there figuring who is going to run second and who is going to run third. But the greatest quarter miler that running with or running without was really to me was Steve Lewis, because when Steve Lewis run, it doesn't seem like he's running, but his legs then never slow down. And Butch Reynolds. But my years I was having fun because there was really nobody that I really feared. I think that God just paved that way for me in those era in the 80s, because I just run. I don't back off. I don't back from nowhere. Remember, in 3 years, I've not lost any 400 meter to anybody up until 1983. 83 was the first time I lost right after the Olympic, right after the World Championship. I lost one race.
All right, thank you for sharing there. Ian, back to you.
Oh man, I'm just so right now, just like I'm in class. So Bert, as usual, we all just like myself, and for you, you have paved the way. You was one of the earlier athletes that took up a scholarship and went to Texas, El Paso, University of Texas, El Paso, and so we want to talk a little bit about how did that come along? How did that decision come along for you to go all the way to Texas? What was the final decision to say, look, I'm going down to Texas, El Paso, right next to Mexico, all the way from Jamaica?
Good question. Hear this question. True story. I was supposed to go to Howard University. Yeah? John Moon. Everything was ready. I don't know, it's different in your days now from my days. I got the letter of intent to go to Howard University. And that's the same year I went to the Commonwealth Games in Montreal in Canada in 1979. And I met this guy in Montreal by the name of Larry Jesse. Larry Jesse is a pole vaulter. If you look him up, you can Google Larry Jesse. Larry Jesse came to the Commonwealth Games and looked at me and said, "Would you like to go to El Paso?" Larry Jesse, have a ticket. I swear to you, God. Larry Jesse, have a ticket. I got 2 big bags from Adidas because my intention was to go to Commonwealth and then go back to Jamaica. I'm not kidding you. Adidas, I packed 2 big bags from Adidas and took the ticket from one more at about 5 a.m. Larry Jesse called me and said, "Are you ready to go?" And Mr. McKinley said to me, "You should go." And I end up in El Paso. Didn't register or nothing at all. I took all my documents from Howard. And Howard University, John Moon, want to report. I don't know what happened between him and my coach, Ted Banks. Because he said it was unreported to NCAA, and I don't know what happened. I just know that I end up in El Paso, Texas. I start school there. I really don't. I really don't. But it's not a school that I heard of. But like I said, God was paving a way for me because it was the best decision that I remember the first 2 weeks when I'm in El Paso, because it was in the summertime. There was no school, and I live in the dorm. I used to go outside on the street, the highway, and sit down and count in cars, driving because I'm homesick. And I look at myself and say, "But Bert, why are you homesick? There's nothing in Jamaica that you need to go back to." And that is what came, because what am I going back to Jamaica for? There was nothing. So I ended up meeting people there in El Paso, and I love the place. I lived there for 17 years. It's like my second home. I'll tell you something too. If you Google again and you look, there's a street named after me, Bert Cameron Street, and Bert Cameron Avenue, something like that. If you look it up, you'll see it in El Paso. So, and I'm a Hall of Famer there. I'm like, El Paso is more home to me than anything else. It's and there's some great athletes that passed through there after my time, Over Delhi, and even that guy who married to Marianne Jones. What's his name again? He's from Barbados.
Oh, that's Obi Delhi. That's Obi Delhi.
Obi Delhi Thompson. Yes. So I paved the way for a lot of good sprinters and quarter milers to go to El Paso. Great place to go, I can tell you that. Good track, good everything. Nice food.
All right, awesome. So since you talk about the street, and I know a lot of people might not know about that because we're United States is so big, we're all over the place, and just to say, but let's talk about your transition. So you obviously said you didn't really you came to a little bit to your sense, like, you know what, I miss Jamaica, but at the same time, I'm grateful for where I'm at. But we still know that everybody still miss home and stuff. But in terms of the transition, just going to school with a bigger school and with the whole facility with the track, how was the transition for you? With the food and everything, how was your transition for you? Just settling when your first year.
In El Paso.
Yes, in El Paso.
In El Paso, my transition.
Yeah, from Jamaica.
If you understand what I'm saying, you see, everything to me was okay, because everything from my transition was easy, because you would have to see what I'm saying to you, where it came from. You hear? You would have to see 81 St. John's Road, Spanish Town. When rain falls in my lane, all 2 weeks, there's still mud and water. Here, you have to walk in and lick a big stone, forget which way you go. So transition to me in El Paso was easy. I was living into a place that there's running water, there's kitchen, and there's toilet. So if you have ambition and you want to achieve something, yes, Jamaica is nice, but I don't experience that kind of niceness. Like when I can live and sleep on a bed by myself. And I miss my brothers and I miss my mother and I miss my father. But I never miss the living. When I went to El Paso, I am in a single one-room dorm. There's toilet, there's place where you go bathe with hot and cold water. You understand what I'm saying? And there is people sit down and want to know your story. You don't tell them the bad part yet because you don't reach nowhere yet. You hold that back until you gain some things for yourself. So let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I live in a two-room place with my mother and 4 brothers. You know, there's like a board, like a magas board. There's no separation, there's no dining room, and there's no kitchen, and there's no toilet. So God, I just guide me. So when, yes, you get, like I told you, I get homesick. But then I face reality and say, homesick? This is a living.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So I do everything in my power, to stay where I'm at and develop different friendship and different kind of people that is still my friends.
All right.
People, my first girlfriend, teach me how to use knife and fork. Hear me out, man. Right? Hear me out, man. But
Yeah,
I was
man, right.
because I want different. Huh? I am not one of them. I am not one of them guys who pretend about where I'm coming from and where I'm going. I don't pretend. You know, up until today, my wife here, she have to know everything about me. I took my children to where I used to live in St. John's Road, and they couldn't believe that's their father because they don't understand that world. So there's no way I could go to El Paso, and the transition is not easy. It's the easiest thing ever. Not about the schoolwork. Schoolwork was different. You ask about the transition with the schoolwork. No, because now you have to work.
Yeah.
That was the hard part for me, but nothing else wasn't hard.
All right. Well, Mark Senior, I have a question here for you. I'm trying to understand it, but he want me to ask you about Anna, A-N-N-A, that living.
Tell Mark to go read the Bible. Tell him that Anna is still living in El Paso. She married, she's a school teacher, and she have 2 kids.
Okay. I'm pretty sure he heard you. Yeah. All right, awesome. So
see, all his friends of mine is always friends of Mark, you know, because when anywhere in the world that I am, I always end up at his house in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm always bring my luggage with me. So whoever I'm talking to he's always going to know everybody. So that's why I'm asking that question.
Okay. All right, awesome. So we just enjoying your legacy right now. I'm actually learning about you as I'm sitting right here because Bert, honestly, and all I know you from St. Diego, you're from Spanish Town, but I didn't think that. I just never thought about it. But let me ask you a question about your earlier years in terms of your struggle, growing up in poverty. How that help you now as a grown man to be a better person and to deal with life challenges that you may come across now.
Oh, let me tell you something. When I was doing well, and I go and I report a journalist, they interview me. They ask me what I'm going to do when I retire. I said to them that I'm going back to Jamaica to help the less fortunate. And at the time, I probably never meant it. I just wanted to tell them what I was going to do. But I'm also an American citizen. I have dual citizen, but I live in Jamaica. My children goes to school in the US. One is now in Gainesville. My oldest son just graduated from University of South Florida. So we have ties in the US, but my choice is to stay here to help as much as possible. And it's not an easy road, because for you to get help, it's difficult. Meaning help like you want to help kids. For me, I stand in the way of them helping me to help kids, because I don't get that chance because of who I am. You understand? But like I said to you, they can't stop me. I mean, sometimes my wife, why am I doing all of this? I give my heart and I give my soul, I give my money to these kids. I do everything for them because I see a lot of them. What I see in them, I saw me back in those days. So sometimes I tell them, don't take my kindness for weakness. But if I don't give them, there's nobody else going to give them. You understand? I let them feel as comfortable as possible. And I teach them. I always teach them, don't be afraid to let people know where you're coming from. Because that's not what defines you. That makes you. That is not what makes you the person that you are. And I keep on doing it. I help. I have sent off so many kids to university. And the ones that you do the least for, they're the one who come back and remind us that sometimes you don't remember their name. But say, Coach Cameron, you don't remember me. Those are things that give me joy. Those are the things. I get cussed. People tell me that I can't coach. People tell me, not in front of me, but I heard it back. But that does not even stick a pin in me, because I know that I'm helping. And I am making a whole lot of difference here in Jamaica with these young kids. And I have a little track club that I do coach several professional athletes who don't make no money. So I have never received, no, that's not true. Right now, athletes that I'm coaching, I've never received a penny from them. But I don't know where I get the strength and the finance to keep on going, but I still go. And up till today, I'm still going. Recently, I went back to St. Diego because I was at St. Diego and I left, and I'm gone back there now because I don't like the direction that my school was going. So I go back there now, and I'm being a part of the system again. And these are things that I don't have to do, but I give. But you know how I feel? I feel that some of these blessings were just going to go on my children that's coming up right now, because it's not an easy road, but nothing can stop me from doing what I'm doing. No, I will do this until I die. Because I told you the last time, I told that I always want to be like Herb McKinley, and I've seen what he have done, and that's the road that I'm taking until the very end.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you. This other question is going to be about your journey. I mean, at some point, and it might be several stops, but what I wanted to get to was there anything that you could think of that you would have done differently in college, in the professional, or in the Olympic era that you would have done differently that you did, that you could think of?
Yeah. In 1984, I believe that if I was more professional, if I were more not so happy-go-lucky, and if I was more not just trying to help everybody that's around me and doing things that I'm not supposed to do, my Olympic year would have turned out differently. Because I found out that I was not as professional as I was supposed to be. I was always running up and down. How I would tell you, those are the years that I was running up and down, boy. I with all these girls and all those things. It was like a game to me back then. And I find out and realize that, and that's just what I teach now, especially these young men. I said, if you're going to be professional, you have to understand that you have to take care of yourself first. You have to spend on yourself first before you can get anywhere. Those are things that I would change. Not that you can go back and change it now, because let me tell you, I had fun, but you have to be more professional. And I hope anybody's listening to me understand what I'm talking about, because Herb McKinley used to tell me that in his own word, because he see how I was living when I was running back in those years. And he's always telling me that you have to slow down. You have to slow down. That's not the word that he used though, but he said you can catch up. Rest a little bit, you understand. Never
Yes,
listen
sir.
to him then. Never listen to him then. And it came out to haunt me. So these young professionals that doing their things, just remember, to be a professional it takes a lot of pride in yourself, and it takes hard work and honesty. And once you have that, and you have the talent and you have the drive, you'll make it.
All right. So just move along. Just for what advice would you give young athletes that's coming to United States now in America on scholarship to run? Just because I don't think everybody just see what they see on the internet. I don't think that most of them really know. Obviously, we know that there's a lot of entertainment in America. There's a lot of opportunity here in terms of coming to this country than what we used to. So sometimes when you're not used to these things, it could be a distraction. But if you were supposed to have a last word to somebody that's going on the plane, that going up on the track scholarship, what advice would you give to them?
I would say to them, be humble, take your education seriously. Track and field as sports only last for a while. Some can last for one day, some can last for 1 year, some can last for 10 years. But your education will last for a lifetime. Doesn't necessarily means that there's something there for you, or say you run for 1 year and you can get a contract to perform. But make sure in that contract it said that I am going to pay your way through school for 4 or 5 years. If that's not in it, forget about the contract for a while and run, because if you are good enough, every year is going to get better. But don't rush anything. Don't run down anything, because if you run it down, it's like you run down your shadow and you can't catch it. And you can't live back in the past. So whatever you're doing in the future, make sure it's the right decision.
All right, thank you. Over to you, Ian. You're
I
muted.
can't
You're
hear
muted.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry there.
Come here, man.
Yes. So
My wife afraid of camera and I want you come over here. Come here,
no,
man.
well, I'm glad you're bringing her close because you're gonna
Come
get
here,
yourself in
man.
trouble. All right. While she come over, Bert, you can take this question.
Yeah, man.
I want you, in a little minute or two, describe what your wife mean to you. And just tell us who she is. So you're under pressure already. So, before you start, Mrs. Cameron, welcome to the platform, Ian and Ian.
Hi, good evening.
So this is gonna be real talk. So take the floor. Welcome again, Mrs. Cameron.
Yeah,
Careful now, careful.
we asking her a question.
No, man, are you the question, man? Tell us what she mean to you. What pull you to her to,
All right, let me tell you. Let me tell you what she mean to me. In my life, you see, I go back to my past, right? I always have to have a strong woman in my life, right? If you're not strong, it's not going to work because I'm going to walk over you and I'm not going to have anything. I am going to be broke and she's going to be broke. Everything that is negative is going to happen. I have to find a woman, and I pick them carefully, because in all my life, living, I only live with 2 women, one at a time, and she's the second. She's the second one. She's strong. Sometimes she bully me around, but she only want the best for me. I also allow her to be the boss, because if you don't have a boss in the family, especially, there's things that I do that I am not supposed to do. So I allow my wife to be in control of certain things, more like finance and all them things, because if I have control over those things, then all these kids and all these kids' friends and everybody, I will come home and there'll be nothing. That if I don't have a strong wife. If my wife, and she has to be very trustworthy because I give everything to her, she controls everything.
Don't let them feel like I don't work,
No.
No,
They know that I was going to pick a woman who don't work.
I know Ian have a question for the Miss Boss lady. So don't we're happy that you're joining us. Go.
Yeah, Bert, we are giving Bert him time because we don't want him to get beaten, so make him put it together well.
No mistake, can run, Remember I told you that I run away from everything.
No, well, hold it, Bert.
And he can't run.
Bert, I've already see where you say you're not no more running again. You're done with running, so you behave.
Yes. I find, I mean, we have been through a lot, She took a lot of punches from me, man. And she still hang on with me. So, there's nothing in this world. There's nothing in this world that I would want more than what I have now. She gave me 2 beautiful boys. One of them run gun and take me or call him, but they got but she have been through it with me here, and I can tell you that. She showed me that she wanted to stay. She threatened me a lot of times that she's gonna leave, but where can she go now? I'm an old man.
Oh, but I'm not an old woman.
I know that. I don't want no old woman. But she's good, man. She's well educated. She's very responsible. If I didn't have her, I don't know where I would be today. I probably at your step begging you something now. Because I'm a free will. I'm a free will. And she's not like that. She said her father teach her one thing in life, that every man must go walk. Man must not stay road and beg. So I always tell the man them that begging me, say, the wife say, what if you go walk? so she's a good woman. Good woman.
Thank you, Bert.
All right. Mrs.
All right.
Cameron, I just want to say welcome to the platform, and we're gonna give you a little minute to just tell us who Sir Bert is at home. You know, the type of man he is. Just give us a quick overview
Oh,
of
Lord.
Bert, other side, away from track and field.
Okay. Away from track and field, but no, that is his life. That is his entire life.
Tell him, say,
I
track
don't-
and field come first and you come second.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I walk in on any given day, and it doesn't matter how the day has been for me at work or whatever. I come in if I want to have a peaceful evening and just see nobody. I might not. That is not going to necessarily happen, because I walk in and I find 2 or 3 athletes getting a massage or something. So it is track and field is his entire life. Away from when they're not here, then he's a CNN person. The TV is always on CNN. When sports was going on, it was always between CNN and sports. You can't sit down with him and say you're gonna watch, spend some time with your husband and watch whatever he's watching, because he'll be switching between CNN and whatever sport is going on at the time, whether it is American football or track and field, mostly. He is a great father. He's a good provider and a good husband. I mean, as he said, we've had
Not a good provider, great provider.
Whatever. We have had our ups and downs, and it's been years, because my eldest is, how old is Brian? 24.
24, yes.
Yeah, so it's been a little while, and but as with all relationships, it ebbs and flows between wonderful high tides and low days. So but we're good. He's good. He's a good man. He's a very kind-hearted man, and as he says, if it wasn't for me, and I read Obama's book, where he said his father said he was in Africa and it was given to every poor person that he saw on the road, and his father says, you can't give to everyone, or you'd end up with nothing. And sometimes Bert will say that I'm mean, but it's not that. You have to use wisdom. You cannot take every last person out of poverty. And it's not just about he's not looking for somebody to say thank you or you had to help me or whatever. But I guess it's because of where he's coming from. He feels that he can't stand to see that somebody else doesn't have, or there's nobody to help them. So that's Bert. That's who he is.
True.
All right. So, wow, I love that. So, Miss Cameron, before you run, quick minute, word of advice to young females in terms of getting into relationship, because you guys been together. I don't have to ask the number of years. To have 24 years of relationship. But so a young lady, what would your advice be to them in looking to step out in life? And I know a part of that is finding a good boyfriend that can be turned into a husband. So they don't make the mistakes that many ladies have made down the road. What would you give as advice to a young lady?
Well, normally, I would tell Bert I'm the last idiot on the face of the planet. I don't know if there's any more like me. But
she lied because she said she never know that I run. And she lied. Say she never meet me because my name Bert Cameron. She's lying.
I did not. I had no clue who he was when I met him. I just saw.
You believe that?
I just saw this tall, handsome specimen of a man, and I'm like, yes, this one is mine. But I wasn't into sports and all of that stuff. So no, I probably I'm the only woman or person. I can't tell you. Somebody say, where were you when
That's not the question.
I know, where were you when he pulled up? But you interrupted. When he pulled up in 83?
84.
84, sorry. 83 is the World Championships. See, I don't know a thing about sports. Where were you when he pulled up? I can't say I was here or there. Some people can say I was sitting in this bar watching this, or I don't have a clue. I didn't know who this man was. But anyway, back to your question. To just find out who the person really is, and what their likes and dislikes are, how they really spend their time, what makes them happy, and if you really can be a part of that, of who that person is. Because if you, I mean, men, I've realized that men need companionship, they need praise, adoration more than men like to admit, but it's true. They like respect, and they like to be treated well. So if you don't know for yourself that you can give up all of who you are to be all of this for this person, then walk on by. That's the advice I'll give. Just find out who the person is and who they really are.
I would say solid advice there, and we really just want to give you, big respect for keeping him together there. We can see that he's in good health, looking good, look like him still 16, like him could have do a quick 400.
I can tell you he can do a lot of things, but he's not running on the track.
Yeah, I've already seen Bert, I see Mark Senior smiling on the other side, so anyway, Bert, we just want to say, man, congratulations, and especially
before you congratulate me, tell Mark Senior, see.
Am I listen, man? Am I listen?
Yeah, let him listen. Let him listen this one. In 1984, Mark Senior came to Jamaica. Him and I getting ready for the trials, and we were running some 150s, like a couple 150s, and like about 4 150s. And Mark beat me in every one of them. No, Mark and I close enough. All of a sudden, 2 days before trials, fireman, where Mark Senior coaching, what's his name again, man?
Oliver.
It's Oliver. Oliver came and took Mark away. And peppering Mark now. So that Mark must come and beat me at trials. I went over there to Mark and I said, Mark, whatever you do, don't try to beat me. Run your own race. I don't know what Olivier said to Mark. I said, Mark, I want you, All of a sudden, Mark don't speak to me that day at trials, He just said I'm home like a corner. They gave Mark lead 5 and give me lead 4 in the finals. Let me tell you something, man. He's listening, right?
Yeah, he listened.
I said, Mark, don't try to beat me. So you know what I did? When the gun said, go, I caught Mark in the first 3 steps. So you know what that is, because you run 400 hurdles. I caught Mark in the first 3 steps and went on the back stretch right beside him like this. So you know he started to kill himself, go down the back stretch, trying to run away from me. That time I'm just going like this, because I'm ready right next to him. So he might run out him help on the back stretch. So instead of running a 400 meter, he run a 200 meter. You see when him reach the last 100, instead of Mark running and start to swim, because he died at 40, him end up finish. Mark was supposed to finish worse than second in the race, but all of a sudden he went against me. He got coach, and I working out together, He got a coach, and I said, "Don't let me target you. I'm a target him. I'm glad that he made the team." So go ahead, interrupting you. Here's that.
Yeah, no, man.
Anybody who comes to beat me is in trouble.
We'll get back. One of them day, we're going to bring on you and Mark and all them 400 at least together. Now. We'll have a day we'll bring all of you guys together. I think that would be a good in-house.
But I love him, though. I love him.
Mark, cool, man. We bring him on the program. It was very cool.
And Devon Morris, too. And Winthrop. Bring all 4 of us on it. Devon Morris, Winthrop Graham, Howard
Dennis
Byrne.
play over the other side. I comment to so I will pound there, man. No wait.
Yeah, man.
And anyway, I'm gonna touch a touchy topic now. So anyway, I know back in about 81 through to about 83, you may have been the sportsman of the year for Jamaica because you were unbeatable. You were unbeatable during those years.
Yes.
So Jamaica had really respected you, and they have basically voted unanimous that you the sportsman of the year. Could you tell us what that meant to you personally? In that for all these years, the Jamaican followers, the people of Jamaica was behind you and what you were doing. We're all proud of you. Could you tell us how that made you feel during those years?
One of the things that I used to love, man, is when I'm walking in Jamaica and people are stopping me and talking to me. That's one of the most thrilling things for me in my life. I like fame. I like the fame that I received in Jamaica from your fans outside. When you see a little man come up to you and stop you and say, "Why, Bert, this and that and that." Trust me, man. My first reaction at them to say, "Thanks, mom. Yes, sir." It's a thrilling experience. I'm walking on the street and people just looking at me and say, "Yeah," because you like when people recognize you for the things that you have accomplished. Because tomorrow, somebody will cuss you out, man, and do you. And you cuss back, and then you walk on the street 5 minutes later after you move from that person, and somebody's come up and say, "Oh, Mr. Cameron," and I say, "Jesus, man, why me have to cuss out that one 5 minutes ago, man?" It's a wonderful feeling, wonderful. So being sportsman, I have to stand up. Back in those days, to do the acceptance speech, I never liked that part. But everything else, to see the camaraderie with everybody else who was up against you and all them something there. And you go up to, because normally it was at the Pegasus, and then you go up to the talk of the town. And you know that eyes were just on you because you were the sportsman. And especially when you've been a sportsman in your country, the place of your birth, it is something special. It's like you're on cloud nine.
All right. Another thing, and I know some athletes on the side, and they're commenting, and because if you read along, you see some of the comments.
Oh.
But what I want to know, how do you guys feel in terms of how the legacy of an athlete is being embraced and protected in Jamaica, whether on the marketing side? Because a lot of this that we're hearing right now, we don't get those. Not everybody know these history and legacy. So I want to ask you personally, how do you feel about it? How your legacy that you have left? They have cherished it, and marketed it.
Well, I guess you have to market. I think you have to market your legacy yourself, because in Jamaica there is really no history. If you're not Merlin Otti, or you're not Usain Bolt, Shellyan, and all those things. Yes, you have your fans and all those other things, but sometimes it seems like track and field only start in it's just my opinion. Track and field only start in the 2000, and sometimes that make you feel as if, so where was I back in the 80s? Where was Donald in the 70s? Well, Donald do get his but you have people like Juliet Cuthbert, you have Winthrop, you have even if you don't have to win gold medal to have a legacy. But if you go, Jamaica is so spoiled. If it's not gold, it's nothing. You can win a silver. Can you tell me who was the lady name who won the silver medal in the 400 meter in 2012 Olympics as a Jamaican. You can't tell me who. You can't tell me who win the gold medal in the hurdles. But it's difficult as a Jamaican. If we were anywhere else in this world, we would be famous and recognized. You know, we are so spoiled because we have all these great athletes that pass through. I have to sell myself away because I'm here. A lot more people know of me because I live here. When I look at man like Winthrop Graham, I mean, silver medal is silver, right?
Yeah.
Silver in the 92 Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And all these people, you see, even see Gregory have done so well in the 400 meter. You know, Danny McFarlane, they have done so well. But like I said, they're only as good as their last race. You don't hear about these athletes until we probably have a function and all of us are together. Those, you know, you don't see a museum, you don't see a place where you can walk and not even in the J3's office. You don't see the pictures of these great athletes that travel, that pass through this land. You have to market yourself. You know, you have to do it yourself, because if you don't do it, you will be wiped out. You go to Bahamas and you see how Bahamas been treated. You go to Bermuda, you can talk about their athletes. You go to Antigua, and only part is Bahamas is the only other Caribbean country, and Trinidad you find with those gold medalists. And you see them. Look at Otto Bolden and all those people. You know of these people. But like you said, you have to market yourself. But you shouldn't have to do that. You know, there's historians, they call these sports journalists and all those people who supposed to do their work. So make you make the young ones, who the 6-year-old and the 10-year-old can read something about these other guys. Yes, for me, there's a lot out there with me, but there is so many of us. And I say us because I always think myself as an athlete. I always think of myself as an athlete first, and then whatever else come next. We don't get the recognition when we step back from the sport. We have to walk on there and say, do you know me? And I want something, which I think that we can do a lot better, a lot better. Because people come here and take our athletes, them, you know. People want to run for all different countries. But we are so patriotic and we are so Jamaican that the only place we want to represent is this country. We know we don't get anything. We don't get money. We don't get these things. We don't even get the fame here apart from your fans. They don't uplift us. You know, they don't make us feel special. You know, we're not invited to the big sports event. You know, so past athletes I'm talking about. You know, he can't think they can tell you. He knows.
Yeah, man. If you even look on the screen there, Dennis said they have no vision. And I mean, I read the other part of it. So if you have any reading glass, you can read. But
I got to do we can read.
Yeah, man. Dennis Blake, I write up there and said that they have no vision, which he's right, you know, because the legacy that you guys have left behind, you know, it is legacy that need to be cherished. As you said, they need a museum. They need a place that when you come to Jamaica, you don't have to ask, who is this person? You're supposed to, I want to visit Jamaica because of these people, you know? So, Ian, I'm going to let you come back in, you know, you could take it from there, but really and truly, it is lacking.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick up right on the topic that we're on. And Bert, if this is not a question you choose to answer, it's okay. But if you was the president of the J3, I'm going to give you 3 areas. What would you do differently for retired athlete, what would you have? What would you put in place for retired athlete if you were president of the or minister of sports or wherever you can? You want to? What would you? What could you do? What would be your vision, or what would you some of the one of the things that you would implement?
One of the first thing I would implement is that all the past athletes would have a pension. I would surely, because the lifespan of an athlete is not very long. And it's not too many of us make it. And it's not too many of us. Because you see, when you're making the transition from being an athlete to a regular person, if you don't, some of us need to go to a psychiatrist or whatever, because the transition is difficult. Because you're used to when you're running and you have this fame and you're making money and all those things, and all of a sudden you have to stop, and then you have to go into a 9 to 5 job that you have to sit down with a boss and you have to clock in and clock out. It's like you're moving to a different world. Some make it and some don't. So the first thing you have to do, what I personally would have to do, as there would have to be a athlete pension fund. I've seen that the minister now they are giving they got health insurance now, athletes here, which is great. I also would take the ones who are educated enough to be sport administrators. Some we would put them. The ones that are living here, or when they want to come back, we would have to find, even in the schools, high school, primary school, and all those things. Let them be a part of the communities. It's not like we're handing out anything, because people have to earn whatever they do. But like the Olympics Association, give these past athletes an option if they can, if they're educated enough to deliver certain things, give them the option so that they can take part to build. Because there's so many young athletes and junior athletes that coming up. There's not too many of us to be here to assist them. So we set up an institution with past athletes who want to be a part of the system to come back, because corporate Jamaica can fund it, so that you don't have to wait until I fall on bad times. Then you decide that you want to help me and you want to put me in the paper and say, well, Bert is living here in wherever town and nothing now going for him. So make we try help him. Don't make it have to get to that. We're not saying giving out a handout. That is if I was the president. Those are the three things then that I would want to establish. But you're not just giving handout. You qualify for it. If you're not qualified, we send you to go get educated. So that, it's not everybody going to need it, because some people want to go above that. You understand? Some people doing different things. But the ones then that can learn, you teach them, so that they won't be a menace to society.
All right. Well said, Bert. We're happy that you're able to share your opinion and your vision. If you was the man in charge, the president, or the minister, so your point well said. And I think most of the viewers tonight that's on here agree with everything that you're saying. You got guys like Seymour Newman. Bert, I know you talk about Gregory, and I know you talk about, but you actually was the first world champion for Jamaica on the male side in the 400 meter in a world championship. And we all know, because I understand track and field, you could have easily well be the Olympic champion. Because if 83 was the Olympic year, you would have been Olympic champion. It's no different.
Exactly.
It's no different. And so what you have accomplished, from a legacy standpoint, that I say you have won a medal in every single championship, that exists, and you have actually paved the way. And we see in the NFL, where guys, again, they got some form of funding because it's still going on, and you was a part of it. You helped building it, so if it still goes on, you should be able to get something out of it. But my question is, back when you was running, is there any difference now with the Track and Field Association compared to when you was running back coming up?
The association, meaning,
Yes.
meaning.
Meaning just how it runs.
Oh, when I was running, there was not really association.
Oh.
We don't really have. I don't even remember if we have an office.
Okay.
It's just. I know Herb McKinley was the president.
Okay.
We never really have we have an office over by the Institute of Sport.
Okay.
We don't have nobody else. You understand? But and it is so different now. It's athletes have agents and they have managers and all those things now. Back in my days, we don't have that. Back in my days, when we do run and all, where you run, you make an agreement with a meet promoter, and then you go stand up by the door up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning to collect that cash money, and then you move on. You don't have an agent who go out and negotiate for you or whatever. Meet promoter come and say, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, I'm going to give you that. If you're ranking the top 5, then it's kind of different, Yeah. And then eventually you see the agents start to come in, and they have agent association and managers, and things change. But for us then, when we used to run, it wasn't professional, but we used to get paid. Everybody was friends. We all stayed in the same hotel. Everybody sat down and play cards and domino. Who want to go out to clubs, go and the next day we travel together, and then we run. Then we run the next day, and we go and party together the night before, and then the next day we race. And then we travel to somewhere else, and we do the same thing over and over. It is so different now, Ian. Now I have been to a couple international meets, and I don't see anybody in the lobbies anymore. I don't see anybody doing things together anymore. It was a shock to me, because back then in our days it was different. Not saying it was right.
Yeah.
But now people are signing contracts for meets, so they need to go and perform. When we go and perform, you just don't you pay us. You tell us you're going to give us $1, then you give us the $1. And if you don't want to give us $1 for the next one, so be it.
Yeah. So just to refer back to what you were saying. So back then, when you were running at the World Championship, just were you able to collect any earning from, especially winning the World Championship?
From my shoe company. I was one of. Remember, I was ranked number 1 in the world, so I have a contract.
Okay.
You understand? And your contracts say you're going to get this and that and that, but we don't get no money from the World Championship.
Right.
Like you have prize money and those things.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. We get money from the contracts that you sign. You said you'll get this for the medal or whatever.
Right.
So we get a World Championship. You get a gold medal.
All right. Awesome. All right. So since we're talking about traveling, can you take us back to a couple of the countries that you traveled that you remember that you I know a lot of people, a lot of athletes love Zurich because of it's always the crowd. You get to feel the crowd. But let's bring us back some of the countries that you run that you could remember that you can say this is one of my better races that I ran.
Well, I'm going to say Zurich. Hey, Zurich is athlete friendly. They're right next to you. They're beat. I mean, the spectators don't even today. They don't care about the money. They just want to see their favorite athlete. They don't care about which country. They just want to see their favorite athlete. And they beat the fence. Once they read and know that you're coming, oh my God, man. You can't even walk from the hotel. Because you remember from Zurich, you walk from the hotel to the track. I don't know if it's the same thing now. They probably put it in a different hotel now. And when it takes you just to walk for 15 or 20 minutes, that would be the walk. It takes you about an hour because little children just stand up and waiting for you to sign for them. Zurich was my favorite place to run. Run good races there. I ran at Zurich. One of the reasons why I love Zurich is that because yeah, Mark see that said I was in those card games all night. Yes, Mark, shut up. Hey, Zurich is a place to be. You must run fast. Everybody goes to Zurich at one time in your life and run your personal best because of the camaraderie with the spectators and the athletes. I love to run in London because London, there's a lot of Jamaicans, and the Jamaicans love their sport. At Crystal Palace, we used to run at Crystal Palace. Now it's a different place. We used to go to Crystal Palace and stay there for like 2 weeks before your race, like our first stop. So we jump in the number 2B bus and go on to Brixton and downtown and all them things. So everybody coming to Jamaica, you get some Jamaican food, and from Brixton and all, and you have friends there that you grow up together. Them come and look for you, And then I used to love to run. We had a place in Sweden. I love to run in Sweden because the girls them are so beautiful. So, but they treat you special, Those are the three places that I enjoy running.
All right. Well, we got to show at least one race of you running, and I'm going to show this one you're running in Zurich. Just going to pop it up. You feel free to say something about it because we're not going to share the audio. It's just going to be the video.
Okay.
Of the race. Yeah. So yeah. What you call Zurich, and we'll hit it here, and it'll be full screen.
Yeah. This is in Zurich, Yvonne. I think this is a race that I was running with. Hold on, it's stuck. This is always my best part of my race, Yvonne. And the back stretch right here, I always know if I'm going to win. You see where I always take over right here, Yvonne, with my head popping back. Yeah, they said I should talk, Yvonne. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. You see, like I said, there's Walter McCoy. That was my fiercest. There's Walter McCoy at second right there. 44.69. Yes. Scammerall. You remember I told you guys about Walter McCoy? Yeah. Oh my God. Look at where you get that race from, man. See, look at me coming off the turn. So when I come off the turn, I am not the fastest person, But once I'm running like that, There's no way you can beat me. You're Walter McCoy coming right there, and this guy is Kameral from Germany. Yes. Oh my God. Where you get that race from, man?
Good run.
Yeah, you're all. Yeah, you're all over the. I know that back in the days, social media. I know social media it's bigger now
Yeah.
compared to when you used to run. But but obviously, you're still a legend. So there's still races that we could find about you. But about that race here, tell us a little bit about it because you actually was the #1 runner, but it seems like somebody one of your competitors ran a faster time than you, and this was an opportunity for you to actually prove who was the better man and who was the faster man.
Right.
At the last meet of the year.
That was okay. I just remember now. There's this young man named Kameral from Germany.
Yeah.
Who went out and run. I think he ran 44. I don't remember what, but it's a fast time that I have not run. So people start to talk about Kameral, and it's like he was young from Germany, and they were saying that my competitor at the World Championship. So that probably was in 1983, because it's at the year when they were talking about this young guy, and it did not even bother me at all, because I was saying to myself that's just a one race. He just one race in Germany, and those sometimes they run some fast times. And when I met him in the World Championship, I don't even think that he made it to the finals. I don't think if it's the same thing, if it's the same person. What about Mark? About that was 40 years ago. I'm telling you, I guess in Phoenix it's early times, eh? But I remember, like I said to you, I was not afraid of anybody. Don't matter how fast you run. The way I race to beat you. If when I beat you, the time going to fast, that's fine. But you're not going to come and say you're going to beat me and just come and say beat. You don't get that kind of luxury when you're running, because I was strong. I wasn't fast, but I was strong, and I just know how to run the race. I know that I have to lead coming off the bend. If you watch all my races that I run, I'm always going to lead you as I come in off the turn. You might beat me in the first 100 or 120 or 180, but you're not going to lead me from 200 coming off that turn. I already covered the stagger coming out the third 100 meter, and I'm just going to win. So Kameral had no chance with me then.
Well, with that type of run, Bert,
I was a little bit cocky then back there too. I must tell you that.
Well, we're seeing confident in you. It just amazing me. I mean, how tall were you, and what was your race weight back then when you was running?
I was 6'2", 182, 185.
Okay, 185. Okay. And tell me about one or two of your favorite.
They called me a big quarter miler. Quarter miler, because my legs then were short.
Okay.
But my extension was and I don't get my legs then was always up.
I like it. You go to the arms. They're perfectly up to the side, and I see that drive. I mean, you just So Bert, tell me one or two of your favorite workouts, because I mean, I gotta figure out, for you to run like that, what type of workouts were you doing? Were some workouts that know that you're ready? When I do this workout and I run a certain time, it gives you confidence mentally and physically. Yeah,
one of my favorite workouts when I know that I'm ready, because when you're ready, you don't do a whole heap of lactic, a whole heap of one of my favorite workouts is 300s. 300 with 10 minutes rest in between, right? And I have to run all three of them in 33 seconds. 30, from 33.5 to 33.2. And the last one must be the fastest one with 10 minutes rest. And once I do that, then I start to feel a pain right in my glute. Every time when I'm going to run fast, I feel this pain in my glute. Like when I finish run, I can't walk. But the next morning, it's like it just disappeared. But you see those 300 in below 33.5 in 10 minutes? Mark can tell you. One time we went out and we were setting our own program. And I think him and I set the Monday program, and I think I run 300. That is when we in shape. And the time when he beat me up with the 5 150s. But when he run the first 300, he runs the 30. I think he run 32.9 or something like that. So he died. Second one, he comes back, he couldn't stay with me. The third one was even worse. And I did that to Raymond Stewart too. Because Raymond Stewart, Raymond is a 100-meter runner.
Yeah.
So him and I went out and we run. This is those are the 300, but the other one is 150s. 150s. We run 4 150s together. Raymond, this is Mark is out of the picture now. Raymond and I run 4 150s. The first one, Raymond killed me. But there was a trick to it. I said to Raymond, we're taking 4 minutes rest, right? Second one, he barely beat me.
All right.
Barely. The third one, I soon tell you the times, The third one, I killed him. I beat him by about 10 meters.
He got stop. Now.
He lay down there for about 2 hours and round. He could not move until I went and run my island. We were running 15.8 and 16.1 and 6. But my last two was we run 15.8, 16 flat, 16.1. That's the 3 that he run. My last two was about 15.8 and 15.8, 15.8, 15.8. He couldn't come back with me because I get stronger. Those are the 2 workouts that anytime you see me go on the track, I mean run those 4 150s and those 300, because the 300 that you're running is like 2 weeks before competition. You don't run it the next week again, because you know what's going to happen. Because that's 900 with a workout in 30 minutes. You understand? So it's like 2 weeks before anything. But the 150s now, we can go to 150s 1 week before real competition. And if I can do those 4 in say 2 of them in 15, then it's going to be difficult for you to stop me. Then you're going that race with all that confidence.
Right.
But I always get these young boys, Raymond, Mark. The toughest one that I had was Winthrop. Any workout, Winthrop could handle any workout. I didn't run so funny. Even Winthrop don't even look like he can run.
The high knees.
He is so terrible. But you see him stretch out his leg like this, like one leg, like him always a hurdle. But he was strong. Strong. But it was hard. Winthrop was the hardest person for me to keep up with. But Raymond, Mark, and anybody else, man, they were afraid of my workouts, man. Because I'm running it with them, So I'm not just talking and say, go do this. I say, come do it with me. Because them time about them, we don't have no personal coach or anything like that. We set up our own thing. Today, it's my day. Tomorrow is Mark. Then the next day is Winthrop. And we never remember anything about easy day, but hard and easy. You come with the workout, we're going to do it. And that's the thing. But the 200 and the 150s.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, then I'll shift you over to Ian. Let's talk about the coaching, because I know we haven't talked much about coaching, but Just name some of the people, some of the coaches that have coached you, and what are some of the best advice that you receive from and a few of those coaches.
All right, my first coach was Jimmy Grant from high school, and then my first year out of high school before I went away. And he always, his best advice to me was that, you know, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do something, Bert, me tell you, no man. Yes, me tell you, no man. If you're gonna do something, me tell you, no, Bert. Don't act bigger than what you think you are, because you will fall, and if you fall, you're gonna fall hard. Can I remember that for a while? But then after a while, I forget it, yeah? But Jimmy was my inspiration as a coach, because when nobody believed in me, he always believed. And him and I grew up as coach, friend, father, friend, and everything else. Then I went to, he was the only coach that I had when I was in Jamaica. Then when I went to El Paso, I met my other coach. His name was Colin Thurton. He's from Belize. Colin's a good friend. Technically, he was awesome. Because when I went to school in El Paso, I started to tell Colin that, Colin, none of the man can beat me no man. Me always use that word. Me always say that. I don't know why. None of the man can, and the man look at me and laugh. Because he know what I was up against. I didn't know what I was up against. And the first trap meet I had was in El Paso the first time. And I got walked over, man. I got walked over. I finished the winner. There was two guys from USC. Bill Green and James Stanford. I never forget those two guys. And they beat me so bad. I run third, I run 45.9. The guys they beat me so far, and I have to remember the time them reach. And I went back to Colin, and Colin laughed and said, you see what I'm telling you? Don't think that you're in Jamaica. It's a different ball of fish now. And I took that in. And those same guys that beat me that year in 1980, I came back at NCAA. That was in Texas, in Austin, and I beat them all because I won the 400 meters as a freshman. I run 45.21 to win that race. You know, and I stayed with Colin for all those years in El Paso. So I didn't have many coaches, and then I started to do it myself. After 84, I started to coach myself.
All right. Thank you. Over to you, Ian.
Okay, Bert, boy, we learned a whole lot this night, and we just want to say thanks for the participation of the other guys who have run many races themselves, So Maxine, I just throw in a question here. Colin was coach in 84. So with 84, I want to take it right back to 84. Los Angeles Olympics. I know you world champion, but here you mentioned it already, where you had hamstring injury. You stopped more than once in the race, but yet still you find it in you to finish that race and still qualify. I really want to go back to that race specifically, because that seems like that was the final, even though you didn't run in the final itself. But you mentioned earlier that you really wanted to go out there. It's like you had to stop on the track that you couldn't run it. Could you really just zone in on that race, particularly 1984 Los Angeles Olympics?
That's easy, man. That's easy. That's easy to zone in on, man. Trust me. It's like yesterday, or just like it's happening right now. I mean, that was the saddest day of my life after that race. Like I said to you, I knew that, like what Ian told you, that, and Ian understand the thing. These are the same guys that I ran with in 1983. There was no new person. There was no new athletes coming in. They were the same person. So that means, that Even if I didn't get the goal, there would be a medal there for me somewhere, unless whatever happened to me happened. So I remember Colin, my coach, said to me, all right, after I run the first round, I run like 45-1 or something, like easy. Very easy. No, the first race I run like about, it was slow because you just want to get through the next round. Then I went and run the quarterfinals, I run 45-16, feeling good, man. I called Colin and I said, boy, I feel so good, man, boy. Things are going to happen. So he said to me now, all I want you to do now, Bert, go out there and run a good race to establish yourself so that you can get a good lane for the finals. Because you know how the computer pick and all of that. Semifinals always tell you how you're going to perform in the final, because you're always going to perform at least 0.1 or point whatever faster if you're conditioned well. You never normally, it's once in a blue moon you see somebody don't run a good semifinal and then come back, come win or do anything. You can pick your winner, your first three from the semifinals. So my thing was that now I am going to show them who is the boss. That's in my mind. And my rival was in my semifinals because he wasn't running good at all. So he was in lane 3. That is what's his name? What's the guy named from US, man? McKay, Antonio McKay. That was a big thing about Antonio McKay and myself. And he was in lane 3 and I was in lane 2. So I said, I was going to do Antonio McKay just like I did Mark at the trials. Just catch him early and then let him go and do what he want to do on the backstretch. So I hope Mark listening. So when we started out now, bam, I feel so good, man. And I got up. I was already beside Antonio McKay. And when I caught McKay, I decide now that I am going to go faster now, because I want to just
Are you still there?
Whenever,
I just want to.
okay.
Are we there?
Yeah, we're good. We're back in business.
Yeah. When I start to pick up now, because I already get rid of Antonio McKay, and I turn in the first, come off the first bend at 110 meters, and I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling so good. I said, all right, let me go now on the backstretch, because the backstretch was one of my best part of my race, because my stride and my technique and everything. And as soon as I start, feel this, boom, just like that. The word I use was shit. And I go a little bit again and I step again and I start to feel the pain, man. And I say, oh God, what is this? I go for the third time, man, and I start to feel worse. Then this boy from Barbados, Elvis Ford, he's in lane 1. So when lane 1 pass you on the back stretch, you know that you're in serious trouble when a guy in lane 1 can pass you. And when he passed me, I said, Jesus, just allow me to make it to the finals so I can see what I can do. Then I remember I saw the whole stadium, everybody in the stadium just stand up and they say like, ooh. And I remember the color that I could see. I could see like pink and blue, like the blue and pink, like that's what I was seeing in this in the stands. I said to myself, I am not going to stop. I have to go through because this is what I've been preparing myself from 1980. And every time I make a step, and I found out that yes, my leg feels strong again. And every stride that I make, everything was stronger. Every step was stronger. Every step was stronger. And I saw the whole field just coming right back to me. And it was coming back to me at my strongest point. Because my strongest point at the race, when I come off the back stretch, is the third 100. The third 100 that is on the corner, that I see that everybody coming back. And then when I saw that, I started to feel good. And I started to feel, and I started to move. Then I looked to my right, and I saw I passed about 3 guys, and I looked to my left, and then I passed Elvis. So that is 4 people behind. And we only need to have 4 people for the finals. And Antonio McKay came up beside me because I was at third then, and came up beside me, and we both went inside for the finals. I run 45-1-0 by stopping about 4 or 5 times. I remember listening to the commentator said, this poor little boy from Spanish Town don't have to prove nothing to anybody else again. But then I said to myself, he really don't understand what he's talking about. Because I want to be in that final. The next day, I went to my sponsor. That time my sponsor was Adidas. And they took me to a doctor and they tried every single thing. Because I didn't scratch from the race. And the next day when I went out there, I couldn't walk. When I'm walking through the tunnel to go to the warm-up track. So I told Irma Kenley to scratch me then. And he didn't do it. So when everybody walked out to the race, the lane was empty. And I sat down and watched Alonzo Babas. Alonzo Baba was in my conference at El Paso. Was from the Air Force. Won my race. And Gabriel Tiaco, he died now, finished second. And Antonio McKay, my rival, finished third. So, that race, man, I can tell you something, man. It's something that could have break me in pieces because it was my gold medal. Trust me, it was mine.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people sometimes, you see, is that it's not because I wasn't good enough why I don't have a gold medal. It was just because bad luck. Because I was feeling great, man. I was feeling superior. I was feeling like, just like I said, I don't really talk about record, but nobody was going to beat me. And that's what happened. Every day up until today, I see people racing and see people pull a muscle. It affected me a whole lot. When I see they jump, the first thing I do, I jump with them. I say, then I face back reality that is not really me. But trust me, I don't like to see when people pull hamstring. Because I know at the moment what that can do to you,
All right, Bert. So what Ian is gonna do, he's gonna show that race. I hope you don't cry for it, because for us, it really stand out in everybody's memory. That was a heroic run, what you did. So it stand out to us all, it stand out to the world, and that's why they said, you didn't have to do anything else. You didn't have to prove yourself, because that was enough. That time plus stopping more. We thought it was probably 2 times, but up to 5 times, stop and go, stop and go.
Yeah, did you see it in the slow play?
We're gonna give you the play, and when you're finished, just tell us about hamstring injury and how much it can affect an athlete, and if there's anything to prevent it when you finish watching this race.
He's limping again. Limping again.
Man, that was a run.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't take the video that you just show. It live inside of me up until today. I'm watching it, and I don't have to look at the video to explain it. I see it. I see it all the time. I'm over it now, but for 2 years when that happened, I didn't watch the video. People talk about it, and I couldn't tell them. I didn't have to see the video. I lived the video, and sometimes I see young athletes running. One of the things with me and my athletes is that once they're feeling something, they can't run. So sometimes they try to hide it from me because they know what I'm going to say. Because I don't like to see when people pull. It's not a good feeling for me. It always brings back memories. So they always say that coach too soft, man. But them not understand me. I'm not gonna know that you're feeling something on your hamstring. Anything else, you can have problem with your ankle, your knee, and I don't think it's anything serious. Even your Achilles, you can have all those problems, and you know how terrible those things is. I don't see it as serious as an hamstring injury when you pull, because just the pain alone. So I really don't want to see any of my athletes when they're running. They hide those things from me because once they say the hamstring hurting or whatever, they're not going to run. You know, if they go run, they're on their own. They can't come say anything to me because I advise them. My first advice to them is not to run. It's not a good feeling. Terrible. There's no injury to me in life but a hamstring injury. But I know it's not, Mark, you know, it's not the worst injury. You know, it's not the worst because it's not a life-threatening injury. But for me, you can get away with a knee, and you can get away with Achilles or calf. Even your calf most of the time. Those things is not bad to me. It's just when you do anything up here, I just feel like, true, what it cost me. It cost me so much. It cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of things, man. In negative ways, it took a lot from me. I had to be a strong person to be where I'm at today. You know, so you have an athlete and you're coaching an athlete and you're preparing someone, make sure to think about that athlete as a human being and somebody that just remember this is not the end of your life. You can say don't go. It's easier for me to say don't more than to say try it. No. But back in my days, probably if you tell me don't go, I'm still gonna go. For me. But me don't want that to happen to you. You know them with it? Bad, man.
All right, as I'll be closing down, I just gotta touch on this part because throughout this conversation that we're having, we can see how tough of an athlete you are, you know, strong, mentally, physically. Seems like you're always a step ahead of the game because you had a big why you had to do what you do. You have to get out there. You have to, coming from where you're coming from. We see the why, we see the work, we see the effort. But something that has been hidden, and this is not just in athletic, but across the sports, mental illness really, but we just call it for athletes, mental challenges. And this may come in different form. But for you, we could see that this, although for many it seemed like a heroic run, but for you, it have affected you mentally. We may not have heard you talk about it, but if you should shed some light on that part of it mentally, how did this really affected you and even your career?
Mentally, because I always believe that I was the best 400-meter runner in the world, and for my body to let me down like that in 1984 was more than I could ever accept. I smile all the time, I laugh, and it never left my mind because I said, what if? I always saying, what if? And I've seen people, athletes, who just come up for 1 year and they have all this success because they came to at the right time. But I was preparing myself from 1980 for 1984. And when I go anywhere and I see people, and I've seen athletes raving and joyful and all those things, I always say to myself, I could be one of them. I never gonna know what it feels like to be an Olympic champion, because those days are gone. And that affected me from 1984 until today, because I knew I was that good. It's not like you said, well, I might win that race or come out of the blue and win. I know if that was the only thing that could stop me from winning that gold medal, the only thing. So when I see other people on the podium and all that, I'm happy for them, but I always say I could be one of them. And I never understand what it feels like to have an Olympic gold medal. And up until today, one of my greatest things that keeping me going, because I said to myself that I'm not going to retire from coaching until I find an athlete that can win an Olympic gold medal. And I believe that would be something that could capture my past, because it would feel like I am a part of it. I always want to be a part of somebody who can win an Olympic gold medal. And then I know that my life is fulfilled. And maybe a lot of people out there are saying that I can't coach, I can't do this. But just like in 1978, how I believe in myself, I know what it takes to get to where I'm on in track and field. I still believe in myself that I will find an athlete who can win a gold medal to just make my life complete. And I'm not going to stop, by the grace of God, because I want to know what it feels like. And that is what motivated me right now. Female or male, don't matter what gender, I'm going to try.
Well, Bert, I just want to say, we know and we can feel the pain, but none of us was ever in your shoe on that particular day. As you said, you had put in the work, and when you know that you had put in the work, your body physically was there, ready, going up to the round. It's not like you feel anything before you even enter the race. So we can just tell the toll that it had take on you. But in it all, sitting from my seat here, I just want to say, we basically have you as a champion that year. Even for that race that you stopped several times and still continue to find it in you that you're able to continue the race and still put in that timing. We, the world I know would have loved to see what you would have done if you didn't have that injury. So we just imagine how you feel. You're the man who knew what was in your gas tank. You were loaded and you were ready.
Heavy load.
Yeah, it is tough, and I can't call it, but on here I'm trying to look for somebody who had asked what was the reason you to continue running, but I know that would have been a part of it, that you're still going for that goal. So, but you could share with the person, Nicholas. He said, what was your reason to continue run? And then Ian, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. It's easy. My reason to continue run is that Olympics is every 4 years. I prepare myself from 1980 to 84, not to 85, not to 86, not to 87, to 84. 84 was my year. I was not thinking about quitting because my preparation is not about quitting. My preparation is to continue to the end because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 years. I have won every medal that there is to win at a major championship. So if I stop at the Olympic, I have no chance. So I have to fight to the end. Hopefully then I could come back the next day. Nobody knows. I don't know that I couldn't come back. So why stop? That's not what you want to teach the young ones, to stop. Stop for what? Yes, if you're 16, 17, yes, you stop because your future is ahead of you. But not when you're 23, 24, 25. You don't know if you're going to make it to the next one. Fight, man. You would want to have a soldier like me because I'm going to protect you, because I'm going to fight to the end. So I wasn't thinking about stopping. I was thinking of going to the end. And I couldn't think about stopping. At no point that nothing crossed my mind. If I can go. Only way I'm going to stop if I can't go. And I realized that I could go. But then the next day when I couldn't go, I just couldn't go. So, adrenaline is a hell of a thing here. It's like when you're going to starting block and you're on a track, in an environment like that, you don't see nobody. You don't see the spectators. You don't see the starters. All you see just for a minute, just for a second, is the people that line up beside you. After a while, you don't see them again. It's all about you. You have to live the life.
Yeah, we gotta give a shout out to Raymond Stewart. You just joined in. I don't know if you just joined in, but you decided to share, to let it know that you you've been listening.
Hey, Steve said something. I said, you remember about the 150s, Raymond? Do you remember the 150s?
Raymond, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to watch over this whole thing.
Yes. Actually, we remember the 150s.
Ian, if you don't mind, let me just read some comments quickly for Bertland Cameron. And Bert, I'm just gonna read through quickly. And I'm not the best reader, but this one is from your best friend Mark. Your burn up Mark. So Mark said, I believe in you, Bert. Be at peace, my brother. It is good, my brother. God bless you. All right. Then we're gonna go down to Dinsdale. That's Mr. Lizard from States, Dinsdale Morgan, Hurdler.
Yes.
Dinsdale said, Bert, you're blessed, my brother. People will always have negative energy for positive belief. Keep going, Bert.
All right, sir.
Nicholas R. Powell, much respect, Bert. Let's talk. Seem like you have an Olympian. I'm going to give you a Olympian right there. You know. So,
We're all
all right, then you have Mario. Say, believe you're courageous, run inspired, and led to many future Jamaican Olympian medalists blessings. So basically, your work, your effort, what you have done have basically paved the way for many. Then you see Ray Stewart say, yo, big man, you're leaving out some good storytelling. Haha. Well, Raymond, go back to tell some good story. And Nicholas again said, bless up yourself. Denzel Morgan, so much respect, Bert. I say the same thing. So much respect. Back to you, Ian.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey Bert, so with all of this stuff that you've been doing, we want to know now what in the next chapter for Bert. We know that you want to actually coach an Olympian. And it's funny because that's one of my dreams as an agent. I wasn't able to win a medal. So I said, if I could manage an athlete that win a gold medal, that would make me feel somewhat complete. That's the closest I'm gonna get.
So you know what you must do. So you know what you must do.
Yeah.
You should find a quarter miler because you and I are thinking the same way. Who knows? Maybe I'm not the best coach or the best coach, but you and I thinking the same way. Let's get together, man.
Yeah. All right, but let's. Raymond is firing back here, Bert. You said you never beat him before. Remember, he, so we I don't know how we're gonna explain this one.
Please, please. Tell him we are talking about 1988 at the camp in Los Angeles when we run that 150 and he could not walk back to the dorm because I killed him in those two last 150s, Raymond. Stop it. Remember.
All right. So we're definitely wouldn't want to go on all night, but we know that we know we have to keep going. So Bert, my final question for you is, when you summarize your career with winning the world champion, winning the NCAA, the Commonwealth, the Pan American, running at the Olympics, how you want people to remember you now as an athlete? What your version of what you'd want them to remember you from?
Yeah, before I even say that though, before I tell you that though, I need to say that Raymond Stewart was one of my favorite athletes as a sprinter. And him know that for a fact. But for me, I would like people to remember me as an athlete who is serious in a sense, but very, 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 what's the word I want to use? I like to help others. I am very strong in my mind, but at the same time, I have love for everybody. I get misread a lot of time because the great athletes have passed through Jamaica. I want to be beside them because I feel their glory. I just want to come up to them and talk to them a lot of times. Not about their coaching or whatever. I just let them know that I feel their spirit and I feel it. But when I want people to understand that I am always there to help, not to tear down. I am always admire my Jamaican athlete. I am a Jamaican first, I'm a Jamaican last. And I'm probably not answering the question the way I should, but with the passion that I have for the sport, especially for Jamaicans. I mean, once you put on that black, green, and gold, I am there with you 100%. There's no borders. There's not who coach who or who coach you. I walk through every gate because I just want to be a part of them. Because I see greatness and I like to be around greatness. And I don't have no animosity or no negative feelings about my Jamaican athletes. I just love them all, whether they win or they lose. Once they put on the green, black, and gold, I'm their cheerleader.
All right, excellent. I know that we didn't talk a lot about let's say we might have to bring you back on. We didn't talk much about your coaching, but for you as a coach and for all your experience, for you, what would you say your strengths as a coach? Just being a coach and a former athlete, what would you say? If someone that looking for, listening to this program right now, and they don't know you and they're looking for a coach, what would be your strength as a coach, just from your perspective?
Yeah, my greatest attribute as a coach is my motivating skill. I can motivate you. I can make you believe that you can walk through this wall. You might not get through there, but you're gonna attempt it, because when I finish talk to you and tell you, you're gonna try. And it's that I listen well, and I coach according to your structure, or you build, or whatever. Each athlete don't do the same thing at all the time, but I am a hella motivator, and I allow you to give me a feedback. I allow you to express yourself. But when the final analysis comes, it's all up to me, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Because when I'm right, I will get it right. I want to take credit when I'm right. So if I'm wrong, I need to accept that too. I am the coach. You are an athlete. You have to believe in me and allow me to coach you, because I can get you. You might not be as strong as me mentally, but I'm going to try to get you there. Once you're good and you have that talent, I can get you where you're supposed to go.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm really have, so much more respect for you than before. It's not like I never respect you, but I know you more as a person than than ever before. And I really this year helps me. Just sitting down having this conversation. I know we're doing a program, but I'm here to learn at the same time, and that's why I was happy when you decided to come on the program. I know that just to hear from somebody that 20 years was ahead of me, and just to hear their perspective, I could learn something. So I want to thank you as much as the viewers and everybody else that also I learned a lot that you're a champion and you have a champion mindset. I would love, gonna, you will be hearing from me after the program, leading up. So thank you again. I'm gonna let Ian, if you have any final word before we close out.
Well, Sir Bert, as you hear, I just say, sir, I have so much respect for you, and the legacy that you have left Jamaica and the world. Your courageous spirit, your determination, the discipline that you have, and the will to go on and to always beat the odds, no matter what people say about you. You know that within you, you're capable of doing what people don't even expect So you're able to live above what the normal mind would think.
Yes.
You're able to find that extra energy or the extra gear, whatever you want to call it. But in it all, you have made us all pleased. You may not have won that Olympic gold medal, but to all of us, to the viewers, to us here who are hosting it, you're a champion in more than one area. A real champion, a real man. We want to say respect to you and also to your wife for allowing you the time to be on here. We know we have taken out almost 3 hours of your time from wifey, but we want to say thanks to wifey for allowing you to stay on this long with us. But in everything, the program is Ian and Ian Real Talk, and the aim is really to motivate, educate, inspire, basically to uplift somebody else. And we just want to say that you have hit it out the park. We basically, I play cricket, so I'm not the athlete like Ian, and I could have been, but that's another story. Just like you ask yourself, you live with it.
Yes.
What now? If I had continued with track and field, but in it all, we just want to say, man, we really appreciate this afternoon, the moment that you have taken from your life this afternoon to just be here with Ian and Ian, real talk. And as you look, the comment, you could go back and see the comment of the people who were participating. They were playing full out, that goes to show that your respect is tall, Jamaican term, your respect tall. So we really appreciate it, man. And the final word is yours. So thanks again on behalf of Ian and Ian Real Talk and our audience that's watching.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys. I I do this because I love it, and I do this for you guys because I am willing and I am able, and this is a night that I will understand that there are people out there that still remember that there was a Bert Cameron. And Ian and Ian, pleasure. If you want me back, I will be there. Respect, boss man. I really enjoy this night. I really do. And this is me. I mean, this is all you get. You know, the
Real
next
talk.
McKinley. Here, sir.
All right. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
guys. I'm gonna post this video, but we're closing with it. So this year we're gonna close with it. This is the 1993 World Championship gold medal. First ever for Jamaica. So I'm just gonna close with this year.
83, 83, 83.
Yeah, 83. Yeah. Yep. So it's coming up right now, and let's hit play. It's sorry. Not sure what happened.
Mhm.